Lily Okonkwo loved three things in the whole universe. She loved her mother. She loved drawing flowers. And she loved the strange purple grass that grew on her new home. The colony ship Wanderer had landed on Fesha 6 months ago. 2,000 humans had made the long journey from Earth to start fresh on this distant world. The Varadi Empire had given them permission to settle here. It was supposed to be safe. Lily was 7 years old. She had brown skin, curious eyes, and a gap where her front tooth used to be. Every morning, she ran through the purple grass with her sketchbook, drawing the alien plants that grew near the settlement. She wanted to be a scientist like her mother when she grew up. An alien flower scientist, she called it. Her mother, Dr. Amara Okonkwo, was the colony's chief botanist. She studied the local plants to see which ones humans could eat. She worked long hours, but she always made time to look at Lily's drawings before bed. "This one is beautiful," Amara said one night, holding up a picture of a spiral-shaped flower. "You have a gift, baby girl." Lily smiled her gap-toothed smile. "I'm going to discover a new flower and name it after you, Mama." Life on Fesha 4 was simple but good. The colonists built homes from local stone. They planted crops. They established a school for the children. At night, they gathered around fires and told stories about Earth, a planet most of the young ones had never seen. The Varadi left them alone, mostly. The Empire controlled 400 star systems, and this small border world meant nothing to them. Humans were considered a minor species. Weak, harmless, not worth attention. Then Prefect Mauron arrived. His ship descended on a Tuesday morning. It was black and sharp, like a blade cutting through the sky. The colonists gathered to watch it land. They had dealt with Varadi officials before. Paperwork, inspections, boring stuff, but Mauron was different that he was tall, even for a Varadi. His scales were dark gray, and his eyes were the color of old blood. He walked through the colony like he was stepping over garbage. When the colony leader tried to greet him, Mauron did not even look at her. "Vermin," he said quietly. "They let vermin nest here." Lily did not know what vermin meant. She was too busy drawing in her sketchbook near the edge of the settlement. She had found a new flower that morning, one with petals that changed color in the sunlight. She was trying to capture it perfectly that a shadow fell over her. She looked up and saw a young Varadi standing there. He wore simple clothes, not armor like the soldiers. His scales were pale green, and he looked nervous. "Hello," Lily said. The Varadi blinked. No human had ever spoken to him directly before. He was a servant, assigned to carry Prefect Mauron's supplies. His name was Keth, and he was barely an adult by Varadi standards. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Drawing." Lily held up her sketchbook. "See? It's a flower. Do you want to look?" Keth hesitated. Then he knelt down and looked at her pictures. He saw flowers, trees, animals, and strange creatures that he did not recognize. "What is that?" He pointed at one drawing. "That's a dog," Lily said. "From Earth. I never had one, but I want one someday. They're friendly and soft, and they love you no matter what." Keth had never heard of such a creature. On Varadi worlds, animals were food or tools. Nothing more. "You can have it," Lily said, tearing out the page. "The picture, I mean. So you remember what a dog looks like." Keth took the drawing. He did not know what to say. No one had ever given him a gift before. "Thank you," he managed. Lily smiled. "You're welcome. What's your name?" "Keth." "I'm Lily. Do you want to see the flower I found this morning? It changes colors." For a brief moment, Keth smiled too, but across the settlement, Prefect Mauron was making plans. He stood in the colony's small administrative building, looking at maps and reports. The regional governor had given these humans permission to settle here. That governor was weak, sentimental. Mauron despised such weakness that he opened a communication channel to his ship. "Prepare a report for the Archon," he said. "These humans have built their settlement on sacred Varadi ground. They have desecrated our heritage. They must be removed." It was a lie. There was nothing sacred about this land. But Mauron did not care about truth. He cared about purity. He cared about order. And most of all, he cared about showing lesser species their place in the galaxy. The Archon would approve his request. The old emperor shared Mauron's views on inferior races. Within days, the order would come. That night, Lily showed her mother the color-changing flower. Amara laughed and hugged her daughter tight. "My little scientist," she said. "What would I do without you?" Outside, the stars shone cold and distant. And somewhere in the darkness, Varadi soldiers checked their weapons and waited for their orders. They would come in 3 days. Lily would never see her 8th birthday. The ships came at dawn. Lily was still asleep when the first explosion shook her home. She sat up in bed, confused, as orange light flickered through her window. Her mother burst through the door seconds later. "Get up, baby. Now." Amara's voice was calm, but her hands were shaking. She grabbed Lily and wrapped her in a blanket. Outside, people were screaming. The sound of weapons fire echoed across the settlement. "Mama, what's happening? Bad people are here. We need to hide." Amara carried Lily through the back of their home and into the small garden where she grew earth vegetables. At the far corner, hidden under a metal sheet and dirt, was a root cellar. She had dug it herself to store seeds and samples. Now, it would serve a different purpose. She pulled open the hatch and lowered Lily inside. "Stay here," Amara said. "Don't make a sound. Don't come out until I come get you." "Mama, no. Stay with me. I have to help the others, baby. I have to warn them." Amara kissed her daughter's forehead. "I love you more than all the stars in the sky. Remember that." "I love you too, Mama." Amara closed the hatch. Darkness swallowed Lily whole. Above ground, the massacre had begun. Prefect Mauron walked through the colony like death itself. His soldiers moved house to house, dragging people into the streets. They did not ask questions. They did not take prisoners. They had one order: cleanse. The colonists try to fight. They had farming tools and a few hunting rifles. Against Varadi military armor, they might as well have thrown rocks. The soldiers cut them down without emotion, without hesitation. This was not war to them. It was pest control. Amara ran toward the center of the settlement, shouting for people to run, to hide, to do anything. A plasma bolt caught her in the back. She fell face first into the purple grass she had spent months studying. She did not get up. "I in the root cellar." Lily heard everything. The screams, the weapons, the terrible silence that followed. She pressed her hands over her ears and cried quietly into her blanket. Hours passed. The sound stopped. Lily waited, like her mother told her to. But Mama did not come. The sun moved across the sky, and still Mama did not come. Finally, Lily pushed open the hatch. The world outside was smoke and ash. Bodies lay everywhere. Homes burned. The purple grass was stained with red. "Mama." Lily's voice was tiny. "Mama, where are you?" She walked through the ruins, stepping over things a 7-year-old should never see. Her bare feet left small prints in the ash. She clutched her sketchbook to her chest, the only thing she had grabbed from her bed. She found her mother near the center of the settlement. Amara lay on her side, her eyes open and empty. Her hand was stretched out, reaching toward their home, reaching toward Lily. "Mama." Lily knelt beside her. She shook her mother's shoulder. "Mama, wake up. Please wake up." But Mama did not wake up. Lily did not understand death. Not really. She knew that her grandmother had died on Earth years ago. But that was different. That was far away. This was Mama. Mama could not die. Mama was supposed to be here forever. She heard footsteps behind her, Varadi soldiers. 3 of them. They had stayed to verify the cleansing was complete. They saw the small human child kneeling in the ash and raise their weapons. Lily turned around. Tears streamed down her face. She was holding her sketchbook, the one with the flower drawings. The one with the picture of the dog she had given to Keth. "Please," she said. "Please on my mama." Prefect Mauron walked up behind his soldiers. He looked at the crying child with the same expression he might give an insect. "Missed one," he said. "Sloppy." "Sir, should we? I will handle it." Mauron drew his sidearm. It was a ceremonial weapon, given to him when he achieved his rank. He had never used it before. Soldiers did the killing. Officers gave orders, but this was personal. This was about sending a message. Lily looked up at him. She did not understand what was happening. She just wanted her mama to wake up. She just wanted to go home. Mauron fired. The bolt hit Lily in the chest. She fell backward, landing beside her mother. Her sketchbook fell open to a drawing of a purple flower, the last one she had ever made. Her eyes stayed open, looking up at the sky. The gap in her teeth was still visible. She had been so proud when that tooth fell out. She had put it under her pillow, and her mama had left her a small crystal in exchange. Above the settlement, a Varadi drone recorded everything. It was standard procedure for cleansing operations. Documentation for the archives. That drone's footage was intercepted by a human intelligence ship 3 days later. Within a week, every human in the galaxy had seen the video of Prefect Mauron executing a 7-year-old girl. Lily Okonkwo became the most famous human child in history, and humanity began to wake up. The video lasted 47 seconds. 47 seconds of a small girl crying over her mother's body. 47 seconds of her looking up at the soldiers with hope in her eyes. 47 seconds ending with a plasma bolt and a child falling into the ash. The galaxy had seen violence before. Wars, massacres, genocides. Species had risen and fallen across thousands of years. Cruelty was nothing new, but something about this video was different. Maybe it was the way Lily held her sketchbook. Maybe it was the gap in her teeth when she begged for help. Maybe it was the casual way Mauron killed her, like he was swatting a fly. Whatever it was, the video spread like fire through human space that on Earth, billions watched in silence. Parents held their children tighter that night. Workers stopped in the middle of their shifts to stare at screens. Old soldiers wept. Young people raged. On Mars, the colonial government declared 3 days of mourning. On the Jupiter stations, miners who had never agreed on anything united in their fury. On distant outposts to the edge of human space, people who had never seen Earth felt something ancient stir in their blood. For 200 years, humanity had been peaceful. They had joined the galactic community as traders, scientists, diplomats. They smiled. They negotiated. They built relationships with 100 different species. They were known as the friendly ones, the soft ones. The Varadi Empire had forgotten what humans were before they reached the stars. Admiral Ruth Adeyemi remembered. She was 63 years old. She had gray hair, tired eyes, and a scar across her chin from a mining accident in her youth. She commanded the United Human Patrol Fleet, a modest force that protected trade routes and responded to emergencies. She was not a warrior. She had never wanted to be. Her job was keeping people safe, not conquering worlds. But when she watched the video of Lily Okonkwo, something changed inside her. She watched it once. Then she watched it again. Then she pulled up Lily's file from the colony records. Lily Okonkwo, age 7, born on Earth, raised on starships. Top student in her class. Favorite subject, biology. Favorite food, her mother's sweet potato soup. Dream, to become an alien flower scientist. There was a photo attached. Lily grinning at the camera, holding up a drawing of a purple spiral flower. The same drawing that was visible in the video, falling from her hands as she died. Admiral Adeyemi closed her eyes. God forgive us, she whispered, for what we are about to do. 3 days later, the United Human Council convened. It was supposed to be an emergency meeting to discuss the massacre. Representatives from every human faction were present. Corporate executives, military commanders, colonial leaders, independent captains, politicians who had spent decades arguing with each other. The council chairman opened the floor for discussion. For once, no one had anything to say. They had all seen the video. They all knew why they were here. Finally, a representative from the Mars colonies stood up. I move that we declare war on the Varadi Empire. Total war. No negociations. No merci. The chairman looked around the room. Is there any opposition? Silence. Very well. The motion passes unanimously. For the first time in 200 years, humanity was going to war. Admiral Adeyemi was given command of the response. Every available warship was mobilized. Shipyards that had been building freighters switched to producing weapons. Veterans who had retired decades ago volunteered to fight. Young people lined up outside recruitment centers before the doors even opened. 400 warships. 2 million soldiers. The largest human military force ever assembled. Adeyemi addressed her fleet through a system-wide broadcast. Her face appeared on screens across 1,000 ships. "I know many of you are scared," she said. "I am too. War is terrible. People will die. Families will be broken. Nothing will ever be the same." She paused. "But I watched a video this week. I watched a 7-year-old girl beg for help. I watched her die, clutching a picture of a flower. And I realized something." Her voice hardened. "We do not fight because we hate what is in front of us. We fight because we love what is behind us. We fight because every child deserves to grow up. Every mother deserves to see her daughter smile. Every family deserves to feel safe in their homes." She held up Lily's drawing. "The purple flower. This is what we are fighting for. Not revenge. Not conquest. We are fighting for the promise that no one will ever do this again. We are fighting to show the galaxy that our children are not disposable, that our lives have value, that we are not vermin to be cleansed." She lowered the drawing. "Fleet, prepare for departure. Destination, Varadi space. Mission, justice." Across the galaxy, other species watched with confusion. Humans were supposed to be soft. Humans were supposed to be weak. What were they doing? The Telluri ambassador sent a message to his government. "Something has awakened. Be cautious." Archon Salivis received reports of the human mobilization and laughed. "Let them come," he said. "We will crush them." He had no idea what was coming. Cororic Station was supposed to be unbreakable. The Varadi had built it 2 centuries ago to guard the main entrance to their space. It was a fortress the size of a small moon, bristling with weapons protected by shields that could withstand asteroid impacts. 300 warships were stationed there permanently. The commander, Admiral Tezsak, had never lost a battle. When his sensors detected the human fleet approaching, he felt nothing but contempt. "400 ships," he said to his officers. "They brought everything they have, and it is still not enough. Open a channel." The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. Admiral Adeyemi's flagship, the Dawn's Light, led the formation. Tessak's face appeared on her view screen. His scales were dark blue, and his eyes were filled with arrogance. "Human commander," he said, "you have entered Varadi territory without permission. This is an act of war. However, the Archon is merciful. Surrender now, and only half of your people will be executed. The rest will serve the Empire as laborers. This is generous." Adeyemi stared at him for a long moment. "Do you know why we are here?" she asked. "Because you are foolish. We are here because one of your officers murdered 2,000 innocent people. Men, women, children. We are here because he shot a 7-year-old girl who was begging for help. We are here because your empire thinks human lives have no value." She leaned forward. "We do not accept your terms. We do not recognize your authority. We are not here to negotiate or surrender. We are here to teach you a lesson that the galaxy will never forget." Tezsak laughed. "You cannot threaten us. Cororic Station has never fallen. Your fleet will be destroyed in hours. Then we have nothing more to discuss." Adeyemi cut the channel. She turned to her tactical officer. "Begin the attack." The Battle of Corix was unlike anything the Varadi had ever experienced. Human tactics were strange, chaotic, unpredictable. Instead of forming neat lines and exchanging fire like civilized fleets, human ships scattered in all directions. They attacked from angles that made no sense. They retreated when they should advance and advanced when they should retreat. The Varadi AI systems could not predict their movements. Human commanders made decisions based on instinct, creativity, and something the Varadi did not understand: emotion. Small human fighters swarmed the station's weapons platforms, destroying them one by one. Electronic warfare ships jammed Varadi communications. Boarding pods punched through the station's hull, delivering Marines into the corridors, and the Marines fought like nothing the Varadi had ever seen. Varadi soldiers were trained to be efficient. Mechanical. They followed orders without question and died without complaint. They expected their enemies to be the same. Human Marines screamed when they charged. They fought with fury that seemed to come from somewhere deep inside. They did not fight like soldiers following orders. They fought like parents protecting their children, because that is exactly what they were. Admiral Tezsock watched his defenses crumble. He had expected the battle to last months. It lasted 6 hours. When human Marines breached his command center, he drew his ceremonial blade and prepared to die with honor. A human soldier shot the weapon out of his hand before he could move. Admiral Ruth Adeyemi wants him alive, the soldier said. Take him to the brig. Tezsock was dragged away in shock. In his entire career, he had never imagined this moment. Cororic Station had fallen. The unbreakable fortress was broken. News of the victory spread across the galaxy. Other species watched in disbelief. The Telluri ambassador updated his report. Human military capabilities have been severely underestimated. Recommend immediate reevaluation of all diplomatic relationships. On the Verati homeworld, Archon Salivis received the news in silence. For the first time in 800 years, something like doubt flickered in his ancient eyes. Admiral Adeyemi visited the captured prefect Mauron in his cell. He had been found hiding on Cororic Station, trying to flee before the battle ended. He was brought to the dawn's light in chains. Adeyemi entered his cell alone. She was not afraid. She was not angry. She was something worse, calm. Mauron looked up at her. What do you want, human? She held up a piece of paper. It was crumpled and stained, but the image was still visible. A purple spiral flower, drawn in crayon by a child's hand. Do you recognize this? She asked. Mauron squinted at it. No, should I? It belonged to a girl named Lily. She was 7 years old. She liked flowers and wanted to be a scientist. You shot her while she was crying for her mother. Mauron shrugged. I have killed many vermin. I do not remember them all. Adeyemi folded the drawing and put it back in her pocket. You will remember her, she said quietly. I promise you that. Before this is over, her name will be the last word you ever hear. She left the cell without looking back. That night, the human fleet set course deeper into Verati space. Their next target was Velos Prime, the heart of the Empire's shipbuilding industry. The war had just begun. The Verati Empire was dying. Week by week, the human fleet carved through their territory like a blade through flesh. Velos Prime fell first. The shipyards that had built 1,000 warships burned for 3 days. Then came Thonar, where weapons factories were reduced to rubble. Then the Citadel of Echoes, the ancient military academy where Verati officers had trained for generations. The humans did not occupy these worlds. They destroyed military targets and moved on. Factories, shipyards, command centers, anything that could be used to wage war. Civilian populations were left untouched. When Verati refugees fled the war zones, human ships let them pass without firing. Some even provided medical supplies and food. This confused the Verati deeply. In their history, war meant total destruction. Winners took everything. Losers were enslaved or exterminated. The idea of fighting only soldiers was strange to them. Admiral Adeyemi explained it to a captured Verati general. We are not here to destroy your species, she said. We are here to destroy your ability to hurt anyone ever again. There is a difference. The general did not understand. He would spend years thinking about her words. Across the galaxy, other species watched the war with growing amazement. The Telluri Federation held an emergency council meeting. Their ambassador presented his analysis. Humans were dismissed as soft because they preferred peace. We were wrong. Their softness is a choice. Beneath it lies something ancient and dangerous. They love their children with an intensity we cannot comprehend. And when that love is threatened, they become something else entirely. A Telluri elder asked, "What do we do?" "Nothing. We stay out of their way. And we pray they never have a reason to turn that fury toward us." On the Verati homeworld, Archon Salivis grew desperate. He sent envoys to every major power in the galaxy, begging for help. The Telluri refused. The Kesari refused. Even species that hated humanity refused to intervene. The Kesari ambassador was blunt. You killed a child. You recorded it. You showed the whole galaxy. What did you expect would happen? They are vermin, Salivis shouted. They should know their place. Perhaps, the ambassador said. It is you who should learn your place. The channel closed. Salivis sat alone in his throne room. surrounded by the treasures of 400 conquered worlds. For 8 centuries, he had ruled the most powerful empire in the galaxy. Now, piece by piece, it was crumbling around him. And then came the trial. Prefect Mauron was brought before a human military tribunal. The trial was broadcast across the entire galaxy. Billions of beings watched. The evidence was overwhelming. The massacre order, signed by Mauron himself. The drone footage from multiple angles. Testimony from the young servant Keth, who had survived and fled to human space with the drawing Lily had given him. That Mauron's defense attorney argued that he was following imperial law, that humans were classified as a lesser species, that the massacre was legally justified under Varadi regulations. Admiral Adeyemi served as the lead prosecutor. She stood before the tribunal with Lily's flower drawing in her hand. The defense claims that law justified this murder, that regulations permitted the slaughter of children. I have a simple response. She held up the drawing. This was drawn by a 7-year-old girl who wanted to be a scientist. She gave drawings to strangers because she wanted to make them smile. She died crying for her mother, and her killer does not even remember her name. She turned to face the gallery, where representatives from dozens of species were watching. Some laws are wrong. Some regulations are evil. When a government tells you to kill children, you do not follow orders. You refuse. You resist. You remember that there are things more important than laws. Things like innocence. Things like mercy. Things like the basic belief that children deserve to live. She looked at Mauron. You had a choice. You chose murder. And now you will face the consequences. The verdict came quickly. Guilty of crimes against humanity. Sentence: death. That on the morning of his execution, Mauron was led to a small chamber. Admiral Adeyemi was waiting. She showed him the flower drawing one last time. Her name was Lily Okonkwo. She was 7 years old. She liked flowers. Mauron said nothing. There was nothing left to say. The execution was swift and painless. More mercy than he had ever shown his victims. After it was done, Adeyemi walked to the observation deck of her flagship. Outside the windows, the stars burned cold and distant. A young officer approached her. Admiral, the fleet is ready. Next destination, the Varadi homeworld. She nodded slowly. Then let's finish this. The final battle was coming. Archon Salivis watched the sky fill with human ships. They came out of hyperspace in perfect formation, hundreds of warships blocking out the stars. The Varadi homeworld had not been invaded in 3,000 years. The last species that tried was now extinct, but these were not ordinary invaders. Every remaining Varadi warship had been pulled back to defend the homeworld. Every soldier, every weapon, every resource the Empire still possessed was gathered here for a final stand. That IT was not enough. The battle lasted 2 days. Varadi ships fought with the desperation of a dying animal, throwing themselves at the human fleet in waves. For every human vessel destroyed, 10 Varadi ships fell. The debris formed a ring around the planet. On the second day, human marines landed on the surface. They pushed through the capital city, street by street, building by building. Varadi defenders fought hard, but they were exhausted, demoralized, broken. By sunset, the imperial palace was surrounded. Archon Salivis refused to flee. He sat on his throne, wearing the ceremonial armor of his ancestors, waiting for the end. He had ruled for 800 years. He would not spend his final moments running like prey. The throne room doors exploded inward. Human soldiers poured through, weapons raised. They spread out along the walls, covering every exit. Then Admiral Adeyemi walked in alone. She was 63 years old, gray-haired, tired. She carried no weapon. She walked across the ancient floor and stopped 10 meters from the throne. For a long moment, they simply looked at each other. The old human admiral and the ancient alien emperor. Two leaders of two very different civilizations. Salivis spoke first. So, you have come to kill me. No, that surprised him. No, death will be too easy for you. You will live. You will watch your empire dissolve. You will see your species learn to be equal members of the galactic community instead of conquerors. That will be your punishment. Salivis laughed bitterly. You destroyed everything I built. 400 worlds. Thousands of years of history. All for what? Adeyemi reached into her pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. She unfolded it carefully and held it up, the purple flower, drawn in crayon by a child who had been dead for months. For her, Adeyemi said. Salivis stared at the drawing. You would burn an empire for one child? We would burn the galaxy for one child. That is what you never understood about us. You saw our smiles and thought we were weak. You saw our kindness and thought we were soft. But our kindness is a choice we make every day. It is not who we are. It is what we choose to be. She stepped closer. Beneath our kindness is something older. Something that remembers when we were prey on a dangerous world. Something that learned to protect our young at any cost. You woke that something up when you killed Lily Okonkwo, and it will never sleep again. Salivis was silent for a long time. Then he asked, what happens now? Your military is disbanded. Your weapons are destroyed. Your empire becomes a federation of free worlds, each governing itself. Your species will learn to trade, to cooperate, to treat others as equals. It will take generations, but it will happen. And if we refuse, we will be watching forever. And if you ever hurt another child, we will return. And next time, there will be no mercy. The Archon was taken away in chains. He would spend the rest of his long life in a simple cell, watching his empire transform into something he barely recognized. 1 year later, Admiral Adeyemi returned to Fesha, for the settlement was gone. Nature had already started to reclaim the ruins. Purple grass grew over the ash. Small flowers bloomed where homes had once stood. She walked alone to the spot where Lily and Amara had died. The bodies had been recovered months ago, returned to Earth for burial. But this place still felt sacred somehow. Adeyemi knelt in the purple grass. She dug a small hole with her hands and planted something she had carried across the galaxy. Seeds from Earth. The same flowers Lily had loved to draw. I kept my promise, she whispered. He remembered your name at the end. The whole galaxy remembers your name now. She stood and looked at the sky. Somewhere up there, human ships still patrolled. They would patrol forever, watching for anyone who might think human lives were cheap. That a memorial was built on Fesha for. A simple stone pillar with Lily's final drawing carved into it. The purple flower. Beneath it, words were written in every known galactic language. She was 7 years old. She liked flowers. Remember, no one was allowed to settle on Fesha forever again. It belonged to Lily now. Years passed. The galaxy changed. Species that had dismissed humans began to treat them with new respect. Not fear exactly. Something deeper. An understanding that these soft, smiling creatures carried something dangerous inside them. Something that could be awakened if you threatened what they loved. One day, a young Telluride child visited the memorial with her parents. She looked at the carved flower and the words beneath it. Why were the humans so angry? She asked. Her mother was quiet for a moment. Then she said, because she could have been anyone's daughter, and they wanted the universe to know that no one is forgotten. No one is expendable. Not to them. The child thought about this. Then she picked a small purple flower from the grass and placed it at the base of the memorial. I won't forget her either, she said. They walked away together, leaving the flower behind. And somewhere across the galaxy, humanity kept watching, kept waiting, kept remembering forever.